A lot of people talk about leaving the hectic pace of the city behind and moving to a simpler life out in the country. This year, we actually did it. We loaded up the dogs and moved to Nashville. Not that Nashville, but Nashville, Georgia. Population 4,800. Come along with us and see everything that small town living has to offer and not that Nashville. Hi, today I am in front of our beautiful old courthouse located on the square in downtown Nashville that also holds a beautiful old historic clock that never works. If you're from Nashville, you know the frustration, and you probably have heard several times, somebody ought to fix that clock. Somebody should fix the clock. Who's gonna fix the clock? Why doesn't the clock work? Does anybody know who can fix the clock? Well, we found someone that figured out how to fix the clock and is actually going to fix the clock. Nashville's very own clock keeper, Walt Stewart, has been keeping the bell ringing for as long as anyone in Nashville can remember. And today he let us tag along to see just what goes into keeping the old gal running in tip-top shape. To get to the clock tower, you first have to go through the old courthouse and climb up the first flight of stairs. And those stairs lead to another secret flight of stairs. There's no mice up here. Which lead to another flight of stairs and continue on to, you guessed it, more stairs.
So these two beams are the structure, and they're kind of sitting on this metal. It's interesting.
They don't make them like this no more, do they?
No, this would not pass current building codes.
What is that?
You will find there's a lot of graffiti up here over the years. Up in the tower itself, there's hundreds of names written. You know, teenagers used to sneak up here.
Oh, wow. A cigarette butt. Really? Kids smoking in the clock tower? No smoking in the clock tower. Okay? Yeah.
The fun part is moving this hatch so that you can get access to the level where the bell is. Mm-hmm. And it's extremely heavy. And move the 250-pound door.
After yet another flight of stairs, we were beginning to close in on the clock tower itself. I feel like Puxatawny Phil. This is sturdy, right? I'm pretty big. Hey, Scooter! Scooter's here. Okay, I gotta do that. Wakey, wakey, eggs and bakey. Wake up, Nashville! Time to get up!
This cable right here was installed somewhere around the 40s or 50s and connected to this little jury-rigged piece of equipment. So this is the hammer that rings the bell when the clock wants to ring it, and this is the spring that keeps it from resting on the bell.
Hey, Walt, you need a hand?
I've got 10 today.
10?
Well, carrying 8, am I too?
Someone asked me if I was afraid of heights, and I said, no. Has anybody ever died up here? Like fell? And after a final set of stairs, we were finally inside the old courthouse clock tower.
This.
Yeah, what is that?
I started 5 years ago. This hole was not here.
Oh, wow.
If you look up, you can see daylight. And you should never see daylight through the roof of anything.
Oh, yeah, I see that.
So what's happening is water is dripping and hitting right here, and it's rotting out this piece of wood.
Oh, we just need a bucket. We just need a big bucket right there. So now we're actually in this is the clock. We're in the clock. Right?
This is the clock.
That's
the mechanism itself.
Okay. Wow.
The Rotary Club bought this power supply, which regulates the power to the clock.
Oh my gosh!
right now it's set at 3. And you can see these little cutouts. It took me a while to figure out which one was 12 and which one was 2 and which one. But as this big gear turns, how far this lever falls depends on these little cutouts right here. It didn't run for 15 years.
Okay, it didn't run at all.
And when I finally got permission to come up here, I finally got the Rotary Club to endorse us, and me and a member of the Rotary Club came up here. And I'm looking at it, and this little chain was still moving, but this gear right here had walked its way off, so it wasn't turning this gear.
Okay.
So we went down to Morrison's Hardware and spent 79 cents on a tiny little set screw, just like one of these. And we put that set screw right here in that gear and moved the gear over, and it started rotating. The clock turns these shafts at 1 revolution an hour. So this shaft actually goes straight through this assembly to run the hour hand. These little gears here pick up off this shaft and multiply that motion by 60, and then there's an outer shaft that goes out to turn the minute hand. So the clock itself only runs on the hour, and we multiply it using gears and mathematics to get the minute hand.
Well, Melissa was here, and here, and here, and up there.
I have a feeling there was more than one Melissa in town. Hi, Mom!
So, these are the original clock hands, right?
These are actually, I believe, the second, maybe the third set of clock hands. There's some downstairs in the museum that are pretty rotten.
And tell us about the screws that you had to order.
So, oddly enough, these are number 12 machine screws, which are not a very popular size anymore. They go from 8 to 10 to 1/4 inch. So I had to go to Atlanta to get these screws.
So you drove to Atlanta?
Yes.
Just to get these screws?
Correct.
Okay. All right, so he's an engineer and a nerd. I'm just saying.
Well, if you put the wrong size screw in the hole, it would damage the original integrity of this piece of cast iron, and I have no idea how I would make one of these. It's got several threaded apparatuses plus the holes in the exact screw. So keeping this.
I'm just kidding. It's very interesting. It really is. I mean, it really is. I just want to know how
these
it
make
works.
good weapons too.
I mean, this is the original, like, it was.
This clock is 124 years old.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. So what are we doing with the hands?
So today, now that I've refurbished all 8 hands, I'm going to put them back on the clock faces through these tiny little holes and hope I don't drop one.
Wow. Yeah, if you drop one, it's over.
Well, it's probably the metal shaft would put a hole in the courthouse roof, and then I'd have to explain that. So,
or someone's head.
Really don't want to do that.
You know. Oh God.
So
I'm a nervous wreck now.
As I mentioned, wasps are a problem here, and you can see we have a friend right here, even at 30 degrees.
Hey, wasp up.
And I'm allergic to them.
We've done murder in the clock tower.
Here's the tricky part. You don't want to drop it.
So I found this old business card. It's a clock service company on the floor up here in the tower.
I wonder if this still works.
Well, we're gonna find out. Just gonna call it. Did they have phones back then?
I wonder how long this has been up here.
Thank you for calling the clock service company. Please leave your name, area code, and phone number, and I will get back to you as soon as possible.
This is a real card.
It's awesome. I wonder how long it's been up here.
So, the town hasn't paid somebody to come up here in over 25 years.
Specializing in restoration and repair.
That's nuts.
So Bud Willis was here in the clock tower on March 7th, 1931.
Bud Willis, March 7th, is that 31 or 81? It's gotta be 81. Can't be 31 in chalk.
They had chalk in the 30s. Look at Little House on the Prairie.
Look at the country girls.
Did they have chalk?
You do know Little House on the Prairie is not a historical documentary?
Story. Well, they still had chalk.
Country girls.
They went to school.
Let me just leave that open.
It is a nice sound. Has a ring to it. Okay, so down the hatch. Down the hatch. With the old clock working like a champ, Nashville can get back to business and running on time. And hopefully, the next time you hear those bells chime, you'll remember everything that goes into keeping it working. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Not That Nashville. Be sure to hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. And we always love hearing from you, so drop us a line if you've got any burning questions, juicy gossip, or stolen fried chicken recipes from your grandma.